Imagine running this like massive promotional campaign. It's so successful that sales spike 22%.
Oh, well,
Yeah, your whole team is celebrating. You're heading into the weekend feeling like an absolute genius.
naturally, you're popping champagne.
Exactly. But then, imagine pulling up a deeper report on Monday morning and finding out that this exact same promotion actively lost your company money.
Ouch. Yeah, that's rough.
Right. So today we are taking a deep dive into the terrifying illusion of what we call the green dashboard.
Basically, where you're looking at this beautiful picture of success,
Yeah.
but you're quietly bleeding revenue.
Exactly. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to explore what looks like this massive paradigm shift in how businesses handle data.
Yeah, we're moving from systems that just answer your questions to systems that actively tell you what you didn't even know you needed to ask.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So for you listening, think about your own workflow for a second. Whether you're at a massive corporation or just managing personal projects, how often do you feel totally overwhelmed by data, but still trapped in this cycle of just like putting out fires as they pop up?
Which is a super common feeling, by the way. I mean, we've all been there.
Totally. Well, today's deep dive is going to challenge that whole dynamic. We're pulling from two really fascinating sources today.
Yeah, we've got some recent materials from an AI-powered analytics platform called DataGenie. They're built by Code Z Inc. out of Princeton, New Jersey.
And we are pairing that with this brand new LinkedIn article. It was actually published today, May 11th, 2026, by Shish S.
And the title is just great. It's called When the Numbers Look Fine and the Business Isn't.
It really hits the nail on the head. So let's jump into the deep end with a story from that article, because it perfectly illustrates this whole dashboard trap.
Oh, the detergent story?
Yes, the laundry detergent. So picture this major big box retailer. They launched this heavily advertised promo on a really popular detergent.
A super classic, high-volume retail staple.
Exactly. So it's week 3 of the promo. The category managers are thrilled. Sales volume for the detergent is up 22%.
Nice.
Every single metric on their dashboard is a bright, reassuring green.
So, I mean, based on the parameters they set, they won? They did exactly what they set out to do.
Right. But here is the absolute gut punch. What that specific dashboard didn't show was that in those exact same stores, over the exact same 3 weeks, sales of fabric softener completely tanked.
Like fell off a cliff.
By an astonishing 31%.
Which is catastrophic for a complementary product.
Right. Customers were, loading up their carts with the discounted detergent and then completely skipping the fabric softener.
And that's usually this highly profitable, almost automatic add-on.
Exactly. So when the finance team finally put together the holistic picture weeks later, the net margin of the entire promotion was negative.
Wow. So they literally paid money to lose money.
They paid to lose money. But okay, let's unpack this, because the analytics platform they were using didn't actually fail, did it?
No, not at all. The software did exactly what it was programmed to do. It answered every single question the analysts asked.
The failure was just, well, human. Nobody knew to ask about the fabric softener.
Right. What's fascinating here is that traditional business intelligence tools are kind of like,
I have an analogy for this. It's like walking into this massive pitch black warehouse with a super powerful flashlight.
I love that. Yes.
You get perfect, crystal clear visibility on whatever specific box you point the beam at, but because the beam is so narrow, you're totally blind to the fire starting in the aisle right behind you.
That is exactly it. And the reason the flashlight works that way isn't because the analysts aren't smart. It's the sheer complexity of modern retail data.
It's just everywhere.
Right. A mid-sized retailer today is pulling signals from point-of-sale systems, e-commerce, marketing attribution, supply chains.
And none of those systems talk to each other.
Exactly. They're heavily siloed. Each system has its own timeline, different formatting, managed by totally different departments.
So analysts are spending, half their week just cleaning data?
A staggering amount of time. So when you're managing dozens of categories against strict weekly deadlines, cross-category curiosity.
Like wondering if detergent is cannibalizing fabric softener.
Right. That kind of proactive thinking just doesn't survive the friction of the work week. You don't have time to hunt for anomalies you don't even know exist.
So the bottleneck is human bandwidth, which means if the flashlight is the problem, the logical solution is to just, turn on the warehouse lights.
Turn them on and see everything at once.
Yeah.
Moving from reactive queries to continuous autonomous monitoring.
Enter DataGenie. Their whole proposition is analysis at the speed of thought.
Yeah, they use this phrase, always on, agentic, actionable.
Right. And they draw a very sharp contrast with legacy competitors where you have to input a question first. DataGenie doesn't wait for you to type, "Hey, why did sales drop yesterday?"
He's just continuously scanning everything.
There's actually a really great example from their platform today, May 11th. The system organically spots this 42.8% drop in total revenue, paired with a 22% drop in session count among mobile users.
And it flags it immediately.
Immediately, no human had to log in, suspect a mobile glitch, and manually run a segment report. The system just caught it.
Which completely bypasses that human intuition bottleneck.
Okay, but let me push back on this premise for a second. If the system is really watching literally everything, all the time across every department,
Does it get noisy?
yeah, doesn't that just create a nightmare avalanche of alerts, like your phone buzzing 100 times a day with useless notifications until you just delete the app?
Oh, totally. Alert fatigue is a massive hurdle. But the difference here is that word, agentic.
Okay, how so?
Well, the tech isn't just tripping a wire every time a metric dips 0.5%. It synthesizes the data first. So in that mobile drop example, it didn't just scream, revenue is down.
Right, it correlated it.
Exactly. It tied the revenue drop to the session decline, found the specific mobile user segment, and looked at historical context to see if it was just normal volatility or an actual crisis.
So it's basically packaging the alert with the full diagnosis.
Exactly. And that changes the analyst's job completely. Instead of starting a grueling 3-day investigation from scratch, they get a contextualized briefing and can just take action.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's look at how this interconnectedness actually plays out in the real world. The Shish S article brings up some very specific blind spots in retail that this tech claims to solve.
Oh, the cross-channel behavior dynamic is huge here.
Right. So imagine digital fulfillment, like buying online and picking up in store, is going up. But concurrently, physical in-store conversion rates are dropping,
Which normally sit in completely separate dashboards.
watched by completely separate teams. The e-commerce team is throwing a party because their numbers are up, while the retail store team is panicking.
Right, because foot traffic conversion is in the toilet.
But when you connect them automatically, you realize it's the exact same customer, just shifting how they choose to shop.
Yeah, it breaks down those internal corporate borders. Customer retention is another perfect example of this.
Oh, yeah. Traditionally, how do you even know you're losing a customer? You run a cohort analysis and see they stopped buying 3 months ago?
Right, which is just a post-mortem. The patient is already dead.
Here's where it gets really interesting, actually. This whole mechanism reminds me of complex medical diagnostics.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think of traditional analytics like a patient going to 3 different specialists. You take a cough to the ENT, a weird rash to the dermatologist, and a fever to your GP.
And they all just create the isolated symptom.
Exactly. But DataGenie is acting like this ultimate holistic doctor. It looks at the cough, the rash, and the fever all at once and says, oh, these aren't 3 problems, it's one underlying disease.
That is a great way to put it. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, that kind of diagnostic power totally changes internal company politics.
No more arguing in the Friday executive meeting.
Right. You don't have the digital team and the retail team bringing 2 conflicting reports and fighting for an hour over whose numbers are right. The consolidated truth is just on the table.
And we see this with promotional effectiveness, too. The article points out, standard reporting just looks at short-term volume.
Like the detergent promo.
Exactly. But an autonomous system automatically measures the long tail. What happens after the promo ends? Did we actually steal market share? Or did we just subsidize our own guaranteed sales?
It just forces a much more rigorous, honest accounting of what the business is actually achieving.
Okay, so the AI has diagnosed the hidden disease. It found the fabric softener issue. It spotted the mobile revenue drop. The logical next step is, well, how does a human actually interact with this?
Right. How do you fix it?
Yeah. And DataGenie has this interface called Genie plus A, and their tagline is, no SQL, no code, just English.
Which is a huge democratization of data, because SQL is that complex coding language you normally need just to ask a database a question.
Right. So by removing that, there's a crazy example from their platform. A user literally just types in plain English. Why did conversion rate drop despite high traffic?
And the system just translates that instantly.
Yeah. It replies with insane specificity. It says, last week in India, despite a 19% increase in sessions, the conversion rate dropped by 23% because of a 47% failure rate on credit card checkouts on mobile Safari.
I mean, think about the manual labor they would take. Normally,
Phase.
an analyst would have to pull global data, slice it by region, filter by device, then browser, then payment method. That's endless pivot tables. GD Plus just does the math instantly.
And it goes even further with a feature they call next best action. It doesn't just say the checkout is broken. It actually prescribes what to do based on past success.
The churn rate case study is wild.
Yeah, let's say customer churn is up 12%. The system scours the company's historical data and finds a date, like March 15th, 2025, where they faced an identical churn profile.
And it remembers what worked back then.
Right. Back then, they increased promo spend by 12%, which reduced churn by 8%. So the AI recommends increase promo spend by 10%. It predicts a 4 to 7% reduction in cart abandonment and stamps it with a 92% confidence score.
Right. It's literally handing you the playbook.
But wait, I need to push back on this. How does the AI actually know that the promo spend from last year is what caused the drop in churn?
Correlation versus causation.
Yeah, like how does it know it wasn't just a seasonal coincidence? Does it understand causality, or is it just guessing based on two lines moving together on a graph?
That is the crucial question. It isn't just looking at two lines.
Yeah.
To get that 92% confidence score, it runs multivariate analysis on the fly.
Okay, break that down for me.
It mathematically controls for things like seasonality, price elasticity, broad market trends. It's running thousands of regressions to isolate the specific impact of that one variable, the promo spend.
Wow, so it's actively proving the cause and effect.
Exactly. It's not guessing.
So what does this mean for the actual people working at these companies? Because if you're an analyst listening right now, you're probably sweating a little.
Hey, for sure.
If the AI pulls the data, finds the problem, controls for causality, and tells the executives exactly what to do,
Yeah.
are analysts just glorified button pushers now?
That's definitely the fear. But I think it's the wrong framing. DataGenie claims this makes the analyst 1,000 times more powerful.
Really? How so?
Right now, analysts are basically human data routers.
Yeah.
If you take away the exhausting burden of formatting spreadsheets,
And trying to find a needle in a haystack.
exactly, their job shifts from manual compilation to strategic execution. They get to be architects instead of bricklayers.
So they act on the information instead of just formatting it.
Yes, they finally have the bandwidth to manage the actual implementation, test new strategies, and do the creative work an algorithm can't do.
They become true decision makers. And DataGenie has some wild return on investment metrics to back this up. They claim a 90% reduction in analysis time, 85% of insights discovered automatically, and a 10x return on insights.
I mean, they literally call it the Ferrari of insights.
Which naturally brings out my inner skeptic.
Of course.
Every SaaS company promises effortless setup in minutes. But let's talk about corporate IT. In a giant retail organization, data governance is a massive constraint.
Oh, it's usually the thing that kills these tools before they even launch.
Right. You can't just plug a magic AI box into a multinational database over your lunch break without violating a dozen privacy laws. So how does this actually get implemented?
The key is how they architect the connection. They use guided onboarding to connect to what already exists. Standard SQL databases, raw CSV files, existing cloud storage.
So you don't have to rebuild your whole infrastructure.
No. They work with your messy, siloed environment instead of forcing you into a 3-year migration. But the real secret is their security model. Absolutely no customer raw data is stored on DataGenie's infrastructure.
Wait, how is that technically possible? If it's analyzing all this data, how is it not storing it?
It uses a federated querying model. Think of it like sending an auditor into a vault.
Okay.
The auditor looks at the ledger, runs the math, and walks out with a summary report. But the physical books never leave the building.
I thought.
The AI connects, sends the mathematical question to the database, and only pulls back the aggregated insight, the actual personally identifiable information.
Like names, credit cards.
Exactly. All of that stays safely behind the company's own firewall.
That is a massive deal for compliance.
It's the only way enterprise IT will even look at it. And they back it up with role-based access control, encryption, and ISO 27001 certification.
Which isn't just a sticker on a website.
No, it's a rigorous global standard. They know if they hold the raw data, the corporate lawyers will never let them plug it in.
Wow. Okay, so zooming out and looking at everything we've covered today, We are looking at a complete departure from that blind spot riddled world of the green dashboard.
Yeah, leaving behind the days of celebrating a detergent promo while fabric softener burns to the ground.
Right. We're moving toward this proactive, autonomous ecosystem where tools like DataGenie connect the silos, run the causality math, and prescribe historical actions to fix things in real time.
It's basically the difference between reading yesterday's newspaper to predict the weather versus having an atmospheric barometer sitting right on your porch.
That's a perfect way to look at it. So, for you listening, I really want you to reflect on how you spend your week. Are you making strategic decisions based on clear insights?
Or are you just formatting spreadsheets, hoping you stumble upon the right question?
Because the technology to do that heavy lifting is clearly here, which leaves us with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder.
Let's hear it.
If we really are entering an era where AI doesn't just describe our data, but actively prescribes business actions with 90+% confidence scores, what happens to corporate strategy?
Will it just become a game of trust?
Exactly. Will the future of market competition simply come down to which executive is willing to blindly trust their AI's recommendations the most?
That is the multi-million-dollar question.
Something to think about the next time you look at a dashboard full of reassuring green arrows.